Emperor Trump here. So I had to make the thumbnail. I had to put him in the Cody Rhodes WrestleMania garb. But there's just like piece after piece. So I'll read this first part. Should I read the whole thing through, or should we just go point by
Well,
point?
a lot of these we've harped on a lot. I mean, the first one's awesome, gaslighting the media, but this is, I think we can just summarize that one because that's something that and particularly pick out a couple of the poignant phrases in here. But this is something that outlining our enslavement we've talked about for a long time. The eventual disillusionment with all media sources, But yeah, go ahead.
Well, I guess let's just read it because it's so old. It's at least what, like 7 years old,
Right. Yeah.
and when you can see where this comes from and what's happening today. So I'll just read part one: gaslighting the media. Number one, the Russian collusion investigation is the quintessential example of this principle of not only allowing but encouraging the media to spin their delusional narrative. The deep state is tempted into believing that if their narrative will be used to undermine popular opinion of the president in preparation for his impeachment, Plan A, if impeachment fails, the groundwork will have been laid for public acceptance, if not relief, at his assassination, Plan B. This disillusion about their Russian collusion conspiracy theory narrative is to be encouraged wherever possible. So, pretty self explanatory. I know people that were calling for Trump's head during his first presidency. I worked with a lady that was like, "Yo, if somebody could just take him out, I would take the karmic consequence for them. I wouldn't do it myself, but I would take their karmic consequence." Some just old like pink-haired lady
All
talking
right.
about
I
that
mean,
shit at
aren't
work.
they filing for impeachment again already? I think I
Yeah,
saw a headline on that. Yeah.
yeah, already again. Number two, the primary purpose of gaslighting the media is a distraction. The time the CIA Mockingbird apparatus spends trying to convince the public of their Russian collusion conspiracy theory is the time the alliance, now that must be like the white hats, remember the white knights from Nasir Jasira.
Right.
That's the time the alliance can use to collect evidence and build airtight cases for the upcoming military tribunals. Lot they're still from Nasir Jasira, right?
Yeah. And the
That's
military tribunals, we've got Gitmo reopened, ready to accept thousands and thousands of people.
yep. Um, this is number three, the secondary purpose of gaslighting the media is to act as time delayed, controlled demolition of the mainstream media's reputation. The
This one's
longer
a
the
banger.
Yeah, the longer the delusional narrative is allowed to run, the greater the eventual damage to the MSM's credibility. Every effort must be made to allow the Trump team to appear suspicious and continue feeding the conspiracy theories suspicions while not providing anything tangible. Provide so much smoke that the belief in the existence of a fire becomes exceedingly easy. So that's been since his first term in office.
Hmm.
And if the idea was you just need to continue that, that's what I asked you in the last stream we did. Like, why did they even need to put Biden in? Why didn't Trump just do this all the first time? Well, his name's Biden. They're Biden time for something. I don't know what it is, but it could just be for more like get people more fed up and people want to push back against this, but also to destroy the credibility of the mainstream media.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
Like,
kind of where the fourth one there is the tertiary purpose of gaslighting the media is to create in the agents of the deep state and their liberal stages a false sense of security. The goal is to foster a surreal disassociative sense of cognitive dissonance, an uneasy feeling that is relieved by concluding that Trump is simply guilty and stupid. So TDS. The alternative conclusion being that the entire liberal media establishment has been chasing a giant fiction while Trump prepares his retaliation. The more improbable and terrifying this possibility, the more cognitive dissonance it will create. And that's what happened the whole time Biden was in office, right?
yeah, and he's back with a vengeance. If you saw, he's got the picture of his mugshot right when you walk in the White House now. And they said
Right.
it's a message like to his enemies, like he's not gonna forget what you did to me and all this shit.
Yeah, and then number 5 in Protocol 1 is kind of like about lawfare, which is interesting. We didn't touch on the Blagojevich thing. I thought that was a interesting move, but the false belief is so tempting that the deep state, FBI, and CIA agents will march deeper into their treasonous plot to frame and impeach POTUS, further documenting their own crimes while providing more time for the white hats to investigate their crimes. Doge. Mueller leads the big guns of the deep state fixers on a slow and steady march directly into the jaws of military justice. Now, a lot of the characters and stuff, like I said, we're trying to adapt this to more fit now because some characters and some specifics are obviously not going to make sense anymore because a lot of these people have been fired or this was years and years ago. But the general overall arching theme of this still seems to be playing out pretty much right on point.
Right, even on this number 5, like, if you when you look into those J6, it was all, like, feds smashing the windows and tell people to go in and everything. That's just another one of these things.
Mhm.
I'll read number 6 here. The longer the gaslighting continues, the longer Trump has to lift up the country. He has time to remove the restraints and undo acts of sabotage done to America by the globalists, thus allowing the country to thrive, making America great again. The longer the gaslighting goes on, the greater America becomes. This drives an ever widening gap between the delusional MSM narrative and the lived reality of Americans on Main Street.
Okay, now that one I don't really see coming true yet. I think we're still. I think a lot of these
Well,
kind of
he's undoing a lot of that bullshit with
right,
his. It's a lot of petty shit like this paper straws and shit like that. But
but I think we're gonna. I think we're gonna come more into that now. I think we're gonna see like this year is gonna be a lot like that, and because I saw in my how like it pops up the news thing in the taskbar is like uh one of the headlines was Trump is the second most unpopular president in recent history and everything. I'm like, what are you talking about? Did you just watch him at the Daytona 500? Like, he is the most popular president of all time. You cannot tell me that he's not the most popular president of all time. But the media
yeah,
is still running these stupid hit pieces like, oh, nobody, like, it's just crazy. I
I
mean,
mean,
the
we
guy
think this
took
shit's fake and gay,
the
right?
beast on the Daytona 500 and did a flyover in Air Force One over the Daytona 500. Come
He
on,
went to the
people.
Super Bowl.
Went to the Super Bowl.
Though
I mean,
we think it's fake and gay, obviously, but I think they want to do something and have this guy on Mount Rushmore. And I think maybe we can do it later. I don't want to do it right now, but if you go and listen to his speech that he gave at Mount Rushmore when he was
mm,
there, the first presidency, I think. Like, it's a fantastic speech. Like, say you're 50 years in the future, you don't know the guy, you've only read the story. If you read that speech, you'd be like, wow, like, it's amazing. And not that I'm like, wow, you know what I'm saying? I think it's all like a big script, but it's like super like extraordinarily presidential.
but like he's acting like the emperor. He's showing up at the Colosseums, right? He's showing up.
Yeah.
Like that was
I
the
mean,
thing when you went to the Gladiator. The emperor was there, right? And now
right.
he's at our modern day events. He's at the
And
Super Bowl. He's at the Daytona 500.
that goes right with he's at those college football games too. But that goes
Mhm.
right with the I keep getting this. I got one and then I've gotten a few since. There's all these videos on YouTube right now that talks about a new Caesar. They say Trump's going to be the next Caesar. There was some guy that wrote a book like long time ago and he compared like nation states, I think, well, like the civilizations that live in them to living organisms, and they have like lifespans and everything. And he predicted in like sometime around the year 2024 that like the next Caesar would arrive and begin nation building and stuff like that before that empire collapses.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I
But
mean,
I've already seen like 3 different videos in my feed about that.
well, even like the idea of the meme that went around about like the average man thinks about Rome, X amount of days, X amount of times a day or whatever, and then like or the resurgence of traditionalism, the resurgence of Christian nationalism, all these kind of things. And then, you know, I don't know, the Daytona 500 thing was like, that was pretty fucking baller to do a flyover in Air Force One and then drive the beast around the track. And like, I mean, I don't know how you could not, from the general American's perspective, I don't know how, a good old Budweiser drinking, Marlboro smoking, Carhartt wearing real man like Andrew Wilson, like how do you not love the guy? He goes to fucking NASCAR.
Goes to UFC. Yeah, he's everywhere, bro. Like the guy, they say he's old. He is old as fuck, bro. He's like 78, but the dude's got some straight gas in him. He's still going. That's because there's two Trumps. There's red tie Trump, blue tie Trump.
I think there's a blue and red tie Trump now. I seen
Damn.
recently. Yeah.